Hello everyone, this is Bodhi, and welcome back to another episode on the Cornerstone SMP server. I hope you all enjoyed that opening time-lapse. As you guys were clearly able to tell, we got a lot of work done on this area here. So the first thing that we did was clear out more and more of this mountain area here. And that's something that I'm just going to be working on just over time, because we want to eventually make this area flat overall. Obviously, I don't want it to be this flat at the end of the day, because this just looks unnatural when it's completely on the same Y level. But besides that, I want it to be more flat than this. Like, we don't want to have mountains here. We want it to sort of just be more mild terrain, and then leave the mountain ranges for us to build, which is what we're going to be working on today. But let's talk about that later. Second of all, we went in and put the carpets on the top of the shield generator that we built in the last episode. Now, I mentioned in the last episode that I wasn't too sure I wanted to do these, because it doesn't really do too much for the build in terms of looks. When you're up close to it and you're on top of it like this, it doesn't really look that great. It's not horrible, but it doesn't look amazing. But overall, I don't think it's that big of a deal. From far away, it doesn't even make that much of a difference. And since it's such a massive build, and we're going for mostly scale over minor details, I think that it's completely fine, and it was really necessary in terms of the build, because we don't want to have mobs on top of this thing, and we don't want to have snow on top of this thing. So that basically solves both our problems in one go, so that's really nice. But let's get to talking about what we're actually going to work on today. And like I mentioned, we are going to want to get started on the mountains and hills that are going to be surrounding this area, because part of this base is the builds that go in it, like this shield generator, and more stuff coming soon that we're going to add to the Star Wars environment. But part of it is also the terrain around it. So we have to cater that to what we want it to look like. And the Minecraft default terrain generation is not going to do. Because ideally, with the mountains that we're going to be having, we don't even want there to be dirt showing. We don't want there to be grass. We don't want there to be flowers. We don't want there to be random pillars of ice. We don't want there to be trees. Basically, it should be completely made out of snow with a little bit of stone. And a lot of custom mountains that I've seen before are actually the other way around, where they're mostly made out of stone and they'll have patches of like grass or snow or stuff like that. So we're going to be doing it in a sort of different way, where the mountains will be primarily made out of snow blocks with patches of stone here and there, because on the snowy planet of Hoth that we are trying to recreate, pretty much every inch of the planet is covered in snow. So that's going to be how it is with our mountains, but unfortunately that means we're going to need tons and tons of snow blocks, and I don't think that this is going to do. We probably want to at least move this to a different area and add in a collection system. So I'm thinking that maybe we can put the snow farm temporarily into one of these spots, because there's not really anything like in these little things, and we could always just cover it up like if we have to, or we could get rid of it later. There's also the option to make a TNT snow farm, because they added the feature that if you blow up snow layers, they drop snowballs. So that's always an option now, but I don't think I want to do that grindy of a project in today's episode. Well, we're still going to be doing a grindy project, but I don't think I want to make an industrial farm today. So I think we'll probably just build another version of that in our little area here, and then add a better collection system so that we don't have to stop every once in a while and get rid of all the snowballs in our inventory, because those fill up pretty quickly. So let's get to work on that. Okay, so I made this quick little snow farm here, and it's like really simple. It's basically the same as the one that we had outside, but it's inside, and now it has a storage system. And so yeah, all the items basically just get picked up by hopper minecarts and then put into here, yeah. And we just have a bunch of them, and so now we don't have to worry about our inventory filling up, because then we can just come down here and craft up a bunch of snow blocks. Now, I can just hold down right click, or I actually have a macro that does it for me like this, and once my inventory fills up, they'll all go into the storage system. Now, unfortunately, they come out super fast, so sometimes it even gets backed up, but it's okay. It'll do for the time being, and we should be able to get a good amount of snow blocks. I mean, I'm blanking on the math here, but a double chest should get us like a couple stacks of snow blocks, and we can fill up a double chest pretty quickly. So yeah, this thing should do fine for the time being. Maybe we can make a more industrial one later, but this is okay for now. Okay, so after like 20 minutes of harvesting the snow and going through pretty much a full netherite shovel, we now have a full shulker box of snow blocks, which is pretty good. Definitely not going to be enough overall, but I mean, we have enough to get started now. And also, in terms of stone that we're going to be using for this thing, we have way too much of that stuff just from digging out these mountains over here. So we have tons and tons of stone and stuff like that. And yeah, we might want to make a better snow farm eventually, but I don't think we'll do that in today's episode. So it's time to put the snow to good use. So the first piece of terrain that we're going to be working on today is going to be, I don't know if it's necessarily tall enough to be considered a mountain, but I guess that's what we'll call it. And it's going to be starting from just behind this point on the shield generator, and then it's sort of going to be sloping upwards slowly and then coming to a point where it's a bit higher, and then that mountain is sort of going to be all across this point right here and sort of curving back around this way. So we're going to want to start to put in sort of the wireframes of the mountains first. And I've been watching a lot of videos, well, not a lot of videos, I've been watching a couple of videos by Flip, and I would highly recommend his channel if you're looking to do some custom terrain making or some custom mountains. He has some really great tutorials and also examples from his survival series. He has built some absolutely ridiculous custom mountains that literally look like they could be something that is in real life, and they're absolutely amazing. Now, the ones we're going to be making, like I said, are a little bit different because they're going to be more comprised of snow than the typical mountains, but still, the tutorials have been really helpful and sort of the thought process that goes into creating the custom terrain. And so the first step that we're going to want to do is, like I said, creating sort of a wireframe of the different points connecting up to the peaks of the mountains. So let me get a couple of those in, and then I think after we get those in, we can sort of hop into time-lapse mode to start getting the bulk of some faces of the mountain done. Okay, so at this point, I should probably point out that everything that we're going to be building isn't necessarily going to be 100% accurate or to scale with how it actually is presented in the movie, because to be honest, a lot of the mountains around this kind of dwarf the scale of the shield generator. But on our Minecraft build, the thing that we've built is already extremely massive. So to do that with the mountains and also achieve the scale of the mountains that we want without taking this like way over there, we're gonna have to be doing it a little bit differently. Not to mention the fact that in the movie, not everything about the scene that we're creating is even shown in the first place. So some of it is going to be left up to our imagination. But yeah, the mountains are not going to be 100% to scale with the shield generator as they actually would be in the movie. But I think the scene will look good regardless. It's just that this ridge that we have here, these mountains, might not necessarily be as big in comparison to the shield generator as they actually are. But I think it'll still look good. So that being said, we have gotten in this sort of base here of the hill that will be sloping up. And then at a certain point, I think we're going to want to make that pillar a bit taller because this part right here is sort of a hill, but over there is where it gets more mountainous and steep, and that's where we're going to be making more of the wireframe going up and stuff like that. So I think that at this point we can head into a bit of a time lapse and get more of the wireframe of the mountain put together in the form of a time lapse. So let's head on and do that, and I'll catch you guys when that is done. Okay, so we got a bunch of work done on these mountains here, and this is my first time ever doing something like this, but this has me extremely excited because I really like how it's looking with sort of like just the pillars of the different sections of the mountains going up, and I think it has a lot of potential for when we start filling it in, which we're gonna do pretty soon. Now, I'm not gonna get a whole large portion of this done today, but I think we will start on a little bit of it. Maybe we'll start filling in the first section here, like this little corner right here. So I think that now that we have this done, let's do one final time lapse in today's episode. A quick little one of just filling in this portion of the mountain. Actually, that's not really that small of a portion. This might take a while. We'll see how it goes. We might do the whole thing, but I'm not sure. We'll see how much we get done. So enjoy the time lapse. See you guys after that. Alright, we're back, and we got a good amount of it done. However, we didn't finish that entire section right there, because that would have just been a lot more work, and I'm completely fine with just finishing this in today's episode. So if we take a closer look at it, it probably doesn't look the best, and that's because there's patches of dirt shining through. Now, the reason I did this is because I want to save as much on snow blocks, since those are a lot harder to get than dirt. I have tons of dirt, but snow blocks we have to farm from the snow golem in there. So I just wanted to save on snow blocks as much as possible, and eventually when it starts to snow, or we can come in and put snow layers on top, it won't even look like there's dirt here, because there'll be snow layers on top of the snow blocks and on top of the dirt blocks. So all that matters is that the edges right here are snow blocks, and so that's what we did. Now, I also talked about throwing one of the patches of stone in here, and that's what I did. There's going to be a lot more of them in the more mountainous areas, but since this is more of a mild hill right here, I decided to just throw in one of the patches. Maybe we can come back afterwards. One thing we're probably going to want to do is throw some string on top of the stone so that snow layers don't show up on top of it, because one singular snow layer on top of a stone block doesn't really, it looks kind of weird if it's just like that one layer of snow out on the whole layer of stone. So I don't think I want it to be like that, so we're probably going to want to put some string on top here. But besides that, I think it's looking pretty good, and I think that's about all we're gonna do in today's episode for this mountain project, but it definitely is looking good so far, and I can't wait to work on it more. But yes, that is going to have to be it for today's episode. We got a lot done, but I do apologize if today's episode was a little bit shorter than most episodes. I am going out of town the day after this episode releases, or the day of actually, and I didn't want to delay it until I got back, so I decided to just finish up a good amount of this project and then release the episode. So hopefully it comes out on time, and it just might be a little bit shorter, but we will have another episode coming soon once I am back and getting to work again. Another thing I do want to mention is be sure to check out the link to my Twitch channel in the description below, because this project is going to be the perfect opportunity for tons of stream content, because this is just such a grindy project. And this is the first of the mountain ranges we're going to be building. So you better believe we're going to have tons of streams working on this and just compile it into replay footage for the videos and stuff like that. This project is going to be massive, and I can't wait to work on it more. But without further ado, guys, please do leave a like on this video if you enjoyed it, and subscribe to see more Cornerstone content coming very soon. And this has been Bodhi, and I will see you all in the next episode.